Oh, you all thought we were done talking about blockbuster trades at a ridiculous hour on Saturday night? You fools. There are more. De'Aaron Fox, the latest to go here on Sunday, more evening, I guess. By the time we're getting the show out to you, it is now later at night. But as it turned out on Saturday, I was right at my computer. The Luka Doncic trade broke the moment that I got out of putting my children to bed. Today was, timing-wise, maybe not quite so perfect, but we've got a show to get to you guys, and it's all about the De'Aaron Fox, Zach LaVine trade that went down on Sunday evening. Welcome to the show, everybody. This is Old Man Squad Fantasy Basketball. I'm Dan Vespris. Find me on social, Dan Vespris on Twitter, Old Man Squad on Blue Sky. Please hit that like button, and do subscribe to Old Man Squad Sports Network. Need you guys around longer term, especially because we got this big trade deadline live show coming up on Thursday of this week that's going to run from 7 a.m. until 12:30 p.m. That time is now official. We got all these great guests coming on. We'll tell you about that towards the end of the show. Right now, we have a trade to break down, and it's a doozy. Here is the Shams Charania tweet that went out earlier today. It's actually the quote tweet of his own initial story break with the full trade details. De'Aaron Fox, Zach LaVine, the big pieces in it. Fox and Jordan McLaughlin are headed to the San Antonio Spurs. No one's ever going to remember the Jordan McLaughlin side of that. The Kings get Zach LaVine, Sidi Sissoko, 3 firsts and 3 second-round picks, which the Mavs have to be wondering what the hell went wrong that they got 1. And the Bulls got sort of riffraff. They were rerouted their own pick back. That's crazy that that's all they got, but getting off of the Zach LaVine contract was really what they were trying to do in all of this. They got Zach Collins, Trey Jones, and Kevin Huerter. This trade is a little bit less convoluted than the Luka Doncic trade that we broke down on our live show last night, because with that one, for one, in the Luka trade, you had 2 mega ultra superstars that were injured, but, flipping high usage guy from one team for pretty damn high usage guy from the other. You just kind of had to figure out how would each one slot in and what players around them would take the small hits. This one has a much clearer kind of round robin thing going on where we took 2 out of 3 teams that had a high usage player that needed to get moved and just rearranged them. So a high usage guy went from the Kings to the Spurs. A high usage guy went from the Bulls to the Kings, but no high usage guy went from the Spurs to the Bulls. That's the break. And that is where the fantasy value lies. Let's do the simple part first. The simple part is Sacramento. Sacramento replaced a very high usage point guard with a very high usage shooting guard, effectively. And at least for the moment, the Kings might not be done. None of these teams are potentially done. But for the moment, almost nothing changes in Sacramento. Zach LaVine is not going to initiate the offense as often as De'Aaron Fox did. So, around the fringes, this is probably good for, say, Malik Monk, who's going to spend more time as the point guard as opposed to the guy who's just listed as the point guard on the box score. He's actually going to be the guy initiating the offense. That's good for Malik Monk. But DeMar DeRozan, his job changes not at all. Domantas Sabonis, job doesn't change very much. Keegan Murray, job changes almost not at all. It's basically just that Malik Monk, instead of being an undersized shooting guard, is now an adequately sized point guard. And Zach LaVine slots in to that open spot. The sad part on the Kings is that I think many of us, myself included, were hoping that when they traded De'Aaron Fox, they wouldn't get a guard back. But they got a guard wing back in this deal. So that means that the fleeting hope that Keon Ellis was going to be a thing here going forward, that's probably not going to happen. Okay, easy enough. Sacramento, you don't have to worry about anything. You know what you do need to worry about? You need to worry about hanging out with our friends over at Bet Online, because this is Super Bowl week. We are now less than a week away from Super Bowl Sunday. And Bet Online has hundreds of prop bets MVP odds, exclusive in-game live betting opportunities that you'll get to check out on Super Bowl Sunday, making our friends at BetOnline your ultimate game day companion. They remain the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for online betting. So whether you're a seasoned fan or a first-timer, BetOnline offers you everything and more. Props and odds. That's all you got to hear right now. It's Super Bowl time to make your game day experience that much better and make that action count a little bit more. So visit the website today. Check them out. It's BetOnline. The game starts here. I think the Spurs are the second most straightforward part of this, although the Kings, they're the beyond simple one. There is really nothing you have to do. You ride with whoever you had there already. All that you really need to think about is, okay, Keon Ellis, chances of him being a super stash here, probably cooked. But again, you never know. The Kings might do some more stuff before the trade deadline's done. It just feels like it would be pretty hard to open up enough playing time in the backcourt for him right now. For San Antonio gets De'Aaron Fox. They did not send out anyone of significant playing time. They sent out Zach Collins, who's a low-minute backup center behind Wemby, and they sent out Trey Jones, who would have become their third-string point guard in this, and so he really wasn't going to be an impact player after this deadline. Kings, by the way, sent out Kevin Huerter, who wasn't playing very much at the tail end of this time anyway. I guess the hope there would be, could the Kings shoehorn enough Kevin Huerter minutes on top of what Keon Ellis was already getting? I guess there's an outside shot at it, but I don't think it's something that you have to get out in front of. So for the Spurs, De'Aaron Fox is going to get to do a lot still. Devin Vassell, does his usage take a small hit? Probably, because again, they added a guy who does a lot of stuff, and they didn't get rid of anybody that does a lot of stuff. Jeremy Sohan probably doesn't need to be rostered. Stephon Castle, who they're very excited about, but from an efficiency standpoint, has none. I don't think he needs to be rostered. Maybe you could think about points leagues, but even that's a little bit of a stretch. Harrison Barnes likely does not need to be rostered. Obviously, this is you're taking away from pretty much everybody besides Wemby. The biggest hit, unfortunately, and this brings one single very large tear to my eye, the biggest hit that's about to take place is Chris Paul. Because CP3 was playing 29 minutes a game as the San Antonio starting point guard, averaging 9.5 points, 8 assists per game, a lot of steals, great free throw numbers. He doesn't need to be the floor general anymore. They're going to find minutes for him because he didn't sign up to be a backup point guard on this team, although it'll be fun for him on a team that, has some decent potential. But this isn't what he signed up for. He wanted to sort of be like the veteran leader of this young team taking a step forward. Still, when the opportunity to go get De'Aaron Fox falls in your lap, the Spurs had to do it. So that, from that standpoint, it's understandable. I think CP3 is going to be kind of annoyed. Does it amount to anything? I don't know, but we're probably looking at him taking a minutes hit. 29, my guess would be down to 24, 25 range, which I know sounds stupid. It seems like it should knock him down even more than that. I think he's just going to take playing time from the others, whoever they may be. You can just find different areas to sort of squeeze some minutes over to Chris Paul because they have to keep him from getting extremely irritated. Trey Jones played 14 minutes in the last ball game, though he's gone, by the way. So those minutes all become Chris Paul's. And, De'Aaron Fox's minutes, yeah, a lot of those were the CP3 minutes, but, you could also argue that some are going to come from, say, Julian Champagnie. Maybe some come from Stephon Castle. They will find some kind of way to get Chris Paul into the mid-20s in minutes, but it's not going to be 29, and he's not going to be racking up assists the way that he did before. I am extremely concerned that Chris Paul falls outside the top 100. I'm not going to pre-drop him because I'd like to see what his actual role is going to be, what the minutes look like. Because, again, when he's out there, he's a hard guy to take sort of off ball. And they're probably going to try to pair CP3 with Wemby when he's on the floor so that he can have that kind of that pick and roll action. And the only thing I don't know how many minutes they can play alongside De'Aaron Fox. There's going to be some, but that's a very weird fit, those two guys together. So CP3, are you dropping? No, you're not dropping immediately, but there's a chance that he might become one. And finally, the Chicago Bulls, because the Kings are the neutral team in this. The Spurs are the one that, obviously, from a reality standpoint, are exciting. But from a fantasy standpoint, the Spurs are kind of the sad team in this trade because a lot of guys lost value where De'Aaron Fox basically stays the same. The Bulls are the happy team. The Bulls are the happy team in this trade for so many reasons. Number one, they got off a contract that I think they assumed they had kind of run out of opportunity to get off of. He signed a 5-year, $220 million contract, whatever it was, a couple years back. So he still has a ton left on that thing. The Kings are on the hook. It's $43 million this year, $46 million next year. And LaVine has a player option for $49 million the year after that. Big time albatross contract. He's a good ball player. Don't get me wrong. Zach LaVine's solid, 24 points on 51% shooting. Like, efficiency standpoint, it's great. But traditionally, it hasn't really equated to wins. I think it will to some degree with Sacramento. Although, I don't know. I think the Kings lose a lot of their identity without De'Aaron Fox. But we're not going to go down the reality rabbit hole. We're here to talk fantasy sports. The Bulls are the happy team. From a reality standpoint, they're the happy team because they got off the albatross contract and actually got a pick in this deal. So that I think they feel like that's a double win. And they're happy because they cleared out more permanent room for the guys to get minutes that they've wanted to get minutes for a long time. And the nice part about the Bulls is that we've kind of already seen this iteration of them. Yeah, they brought in Trey Jones and Zach Collins, and who cares? Kevin Huerter. Nobody cares. Right now, you can look at the Bulls box score from Sunday. It was a loss at Detroit. It's fantastic. The fans are thrilled. Fans want the Bulls to lose, and they want them to lose a bunch. Chicago, the 10 seed. Good Lord. Get out of there, Bulls. Get out of the play-in tournament. Fall as fast as you can, especially with the Raptors playing well. If the Bulls suck hard for the next 2 months, they could fall into that like bottom 6 or 7. Still doable. They're going to have to work at it, but they could get it done, and the fans want it, and maybe the front office finally realizes that that's a thing they should do. But again, if you look at this box score from Sunday, Vooch played 36 minutes. He had a triple-double, 20, 10, and 10. His season from the heavens continues. It's been an insane year for Vooch. He's still number 10. He's still shooting 55% from the field somehow. I don't know how it's lasting the whole year, but it is. He's just having a magic year that will probably never happen again. Josh Giddey played 36 minutes and had 20, 11, and 4 with 3 steals and 3 threes. Awesome. Lonzo Ball is up to 28 minutes on his minutes cap now. He had 13, 4, and 2 with a steal and 3 3-pointers. Great. Love it. Ayo Dosunmu, 32 minutes, 9 shots. Not as thrilled about the 9 shots. I assumed that with LaVine out, he'd get over 10 most ball games. But regardless, 14, 3, and 5 with a block and 2 3-pointers on good efficiency. Love that. And then Kobe White shot terribly, but he's going to have so much usage that it doesn't matter. And finally, the last name to mention is Matas Buzelis, who had 12 and 3 in 26 minutes. I'm still not convinced that he's going to get enough minutes for it to be a thing that sticks, but you can kind of keep one eye on it. But we were always kind of operating on this Bulls team with I don't want to call it a dark cloud. That's not fair to Zach LaVine. The dark fantasy cloud looming of what if LaVine came back and retook all of that usage. Well, guess what? Wipes hands. We don't have to worry about that anymore. It's a beautiful thing right now. LaVine ain't coming back. So this Bulls, this is what it could be for a while yet. All right, Dan, so stop beating around the bush. What do we do? Well, the nice part is, over the last couple of weeks, I've been telling you guys that Ayo Dosunmu was on my list of favorite deadline look-ahead guys. He remains there. This is great for Ayo. Lonzo's been a guy we talked about picking up for the last few weeks as well, not even so much as a stash, more as a, he was putting up numbers regardless. And now that's great. They might move him. They could potentially move Lonzo, and that would clear out even more stuff for these other guys. The only other footnote on the Bulls is, if Vooch gets traded, yesterday, Jalen Smith was the only other option. Now there is a Zach Collins floating around in Chicago that could muck up the Jalen. Did I say Jalen Collins? The Jalen Smith stash. If you used a move on Jalen Smith, just ride with it. See what happens. If Vooch gets traded, he's probably going to still have the first crack at it, but it's also possible that he and Zach Collins end up kind of splitting those minutes. So the will Jalen Smith get 28, 29 minutes a game thing, it's no longer so much a guarantee. It's a we hope, but we don't really know for sure. I would still hang on to him. But again, the big winners on Chicago, the big winners in this entire trade really are all of the Bulls that are left now that LaVine is gone. So Vooch gets to do more. Giddey gets to do more. White gets to do more. Lonzo gets to do more. And Ayo Dosunmu, who I love his fantasy game, every little bit that we can shovel onto the Ayo pile is great. But hopefully you guys had already picked him up because we'd been talking about him for a while. I think the video quality might not be perfect right now. I do apologize about that. But hey, we made it. That's what's important. Thanks for watching, everybody. That's the De'Aaron Fox blockbuster trade breakdown. Just massive trades every day. I told you earlier in the show I was going to mention our trade deadline live coverage. That's coming up on Thursday morning. The link is in the show description. Make sure to head there and bookmark it. Hit the thumbs up button. Subscribe to our channel. That's a way you can know when that show goes live. That's Thursday morning. We're going live first thing, basically, when I wake up here on the Pacific Coast. And we're just rolling 5.5 straight hours without a break, talking about every trade that goes down, who your pickups are, who your drops are. That's the way you're going to know what to do on trade deadline day, and it's going to be a freaking wingding. So I hope you guys will join us for that. Shout out to our buddies over at UnderdogFantasy.com. Use promo code OLDMAN, OLDMAN, when you sign up, or just click the link in the show description to unlock up to $1,000 in 50% deposit match bonus. A free play also unlocks. That makes it so much easier when you're picking your highers and your lowers. You basically get one on the house. That means you only need to get one right to triple your bet. The pick'ems is where I go with this. You can do drafts. There's other ways that you can play over at UnderdogFantasy.com, but the pick'ems are the ones that I think are the most fun because you just look at a whole card. You look at all the names. Looking at Monday's card, Kuzma, Miles Bridges, Jordan Poole, Jonas Valanciunas in the first game. There's like 7 or 8 other names. There's 10, 12 names in every ball game. There's 5 to 10 projections on each guy in every ball game. You just pick higher or lower on the ones that you have a strong feeling on. If you get 2, you get to 3x your initial amount. If you can get 3, you could 5x it. The best move, if you really want to make it last for a while, just pick 2. Have a short card, try to slowly build that bankroll, and have fun along the way. And the nice thing I think about Underdog Fantasy is that you don't have to really understand DFS to play it. It's just quick projections, higher or lower on 1 or 2 guys, and you're done. Check them out today. Again, using our promo code OLDMAN or clicking that link in the show description so they know who sent you. Unlock that deposit match bonus up to $1,000. Unlock that free play. Unlock all the different promos they got going. There's a big game play. What is that? I think it's a no-risk one that you can do for the next 6 days also. So you better get down on that one as well. UnderdogFantasy.com. They've been an awesome partner for us here over this last month, and I hope you guys will check them out. If you made it to this part of the show, you have to subscribe. That's the rule. I'm Dan Bespers on Twitter, Old Man Squad on Blue Sky Network. We will still have some shows coming at you on Monday. This one's just a bonus we wanted to drop in because of the huge trade. Have a great night, everybody. I'll see you tomorrow. Or if you watch it, if it's Monday, see you later.